I'm just like, oh my goodness, like this, like the sales just like popped off. I'm like, what's going on? And I think it took me only like 2 or 3 hours. Someone on my team texted me. They found this like viral TikTok video, which ended up getting 20 million views. All it did is just feature the product and just like hey, here's a cool little product. And like, I think we sold 20,000 units directly attributable to that video.
Welcome to the Ecomm Breakthrough Podcast. Are you ready to unlock the full potential and growth in your business? You've already crossed 7 figures in sales, but the challenge is knowing how to take your business to the next level. Join Josh Hadley, an 8-figure Ecomm business owner and investor, as he interviews highly successful business owners. Get ready, because you're going to learn specific actions you can take today to help your business reach its full potential and leave a lasting impact on the world.
Welcome to the Ecomm Breakthrough Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Hadley, where I interview the top business leaders in e-commerce. Past guests include Kevin King, Michael E. Gerber, author of The E-Myth, and Matt Clark from ASM. Today, I'm speaking with Scott Needham. He is the CEO of Smart Scout and the host of the Smartest Amazon Seller podcast. Scott has lots of stories that he's going to be sharing with us, such as how his product went viral on TikTok before TikTok Shop was even a thing. And he's going to also be sharing some of his success tips of what he's doing right now on TikTok Shop. In addition to that, Scott's going to be sharing a story of an FBA change that he had to take care of while he was on his honeymoon, and he had to come rescue his business. And last but not least, we're also going to dive into the strategy that Scott used to get Smart Scout on the front page of Reddit. This episode is brought to you by the Ecomm Breakthrough Consulting, where I help 7-figure companies grow to 8 figures and beyond. Listen, Scott, I started my business back in 2015, and I grew it to an 8-figure brand in 7 years. But I made a lot of mistakes along the way that made the path of getting to 8 figures take a lot longer than it needed to. There were times where I made bad hiring decisions. I had to take money from my own personal checking account to fund payroll for the business because of cash flow constraints. I also was stressed out of my mind when COVID hit and we saw a 90% decline in sales. I wish I would have had a mentor to guide me through the maze of scaling up the business, someone who had been there, done that, and could share all the secrets to help me overcome those obstacles. And that's why I've decided to offer one-on-one coaching and consulting, where I share the nitty-gritty cash flow frameworks, the sales strategies, and operating systems that have helped me scale my own business. And because I believe in giving each entrepreneur my undivided attention, I only work with 3 clients at a time. First step, I want to make sure that we're a perfect match. So I'm offering a completely free, no strings attached business strategy audit. And this audit is my way of showing you how committed I am to your success. So to our listeners, if this sounds like something you're up for, drop me an email at josh@ecommbreakthrough.com. That's Ecomm with 2 M's. And in your subject line, say, I want to pick your brain. And then let's chat about how we can take your brand to the next level. But today, I'm super excited to introduce y'all to Scott Needham. Scott is the host of the Smartest Amazon Seller podcast and CEO of Smart Scout, a market and competitor research tool for finding Amazon opportunities. With over $450 million of revenue on Amazon under his belt, Scott shares his experience and knowledge about what it takes to succeed on Amazon. So with that introduction, welcome to the show, Scott.
Hey, Josh, thanks for having me.
Scott, longtime listener of your podcast. I've been listening to it for quite a while. So now it's great to have you on my show.
What's funny is like just hearing the name of my podcast, like, it's like one of those ideas that you have like one day. And what's funny is I've totally changed the angle. Like, I was like, okay, the Smartest Amazon Seller. Okay, I want to challenge people that I don't think I'm the smartest in every category. I'm not. But now I've kind of be like, okay, the goal of the podcast, like, let's all be the smartest Amazon sellers. So it's funny, like, even when I hear like your intro, I'm like, oh, that name is like, is that me?
I love it. No, I love the podcast and love what you're doing. And obviously you have a depth of experience. You've interviewed a lot of guests. You have a really good pulse of what's going on. in the Amazon ecosystem. But as of right now, as we're talking in 2024, kind of the most hot topic right now is TikTok Shop. And so, Scott, I would love to hear kind of your experience. You had an experience where a video went viral for a product, even before TikTok Shop, and then you've now transitioned over to TikTok Shop. So give me the sweet, juicy details of that story.
Yeah, so this is 2020. I'd already been selling on Amazon for like 7 years. And if you've been selling that long, you probably have a healthy addiction to checking in on your sales, maybe 3 or 4 times a day. And the truth is, at least at the size that we were, it's hard for like a single day to move the needle. Um, every day kind of comes in, 5% up, 5% down. There's the weekly cycle. Rarely did we see something that was it's like, oh, I have to pay attention to this. It was a Friday night, and I remember I was just heading out. I was dating someone at the time, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, like this, like the sales just like popped off. I'm like, what's going on? And I think it took me only like 2 or 3 hours. Someone on my team texted me. They found this like viral TikTok video, which ended up getting 20 million views. All it did is just feature the product and just like hey, here's a cool little product. And like, I think we sold 20,000 units directly attributable to that video. This was during COVID. And so like FBA, we didn't have all the units in FBA. We had to like reroute our entire team to FBM about 1,000 units a day. And that's actually harder than it sounds, like, just to sit there and do like labels, like, one at a time. It was a big effort, but it was fun. It's fun to see, like I said, like it's fun to see like the sales needle like moves in a way you don't expect. And we've, that this story does transition into actually just the last few months, where we tried to the next year, capture that lightning again. A few times a video would maybe get like 1 million views, but nothing like that. That first organic thing. Even the creator, she tried to do it again because I think she was an Amazon affiliate, so she's getting a few percentage points out of each sale. So we knew we had this TikTok friendly product. Just to tell you people what it is. It's this like it's a little glue. It's called Bondic. It's for it's almost like a super glue that doesn't get quite as sticky. And if you use UV light on the resin, it sticks things together. So it's kind of like a different glue. And it just works on TikTok. It's kind of like it captures your attention if you've never seen it before. So we just had to, over the years, we actually accumulated so much inventory. We're like, let's look at new channels. And nothing seemed like that appealing to us. Then in 2020, we're like, well, what's this TikTok shop? Someone told me that like it works. And so we go through the steps, set it up. It actually, you have to go through a verification to do things the right way, or TikTok will push you off. So they already have built like a marketplace with some degree of controls that doesn't feel too much like the Wild West. And sure enough, we threw some ads on a video, and you attach your product right there, and like it would sell, and like we get close to a ROAS of 2, and that's where we want to be. Obviously we want to be higher, but like we have to be like at 2, and that makes this channel work. I'm sure there's a few, things I could say, but like TikTok Shop feels very similar to Amazon in one way that I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. It's a closed system. Kind of everything you need to grow the business is available through their platform. Whereas like if you're on Shopify, a D2C site, you're like, well, I need to look at Google ads. Oh, I need to look at Facebook ads. Oh, I need to SEO, affiliates, or whatever. Like there's just like different levers that are a bit more complicated. You're putting, you're putting ideas together. Whereas like TikTok Shop, it's just like, you know, ads, your logistics, it's all there on the platform, kind of like Amazon. So it's a closed system. And so I think Amazon sellers finding their way to like TikTok Shop because of that same feeling.
Yeah, I love that. For ourselves, we've experienced success on TikTok Shop with a creator creating a video that's gotten over 1 million views as well. And I think that it's the hot topic right now because people are seeing immediate results, right? I feel like it's much different than the Walmart sales channel. Everybody's like, I pick up a couple percentage points, but Walmart's still heavily favoring their retail products, right? And that's what's showing up because they want to drive, in-store pickup from their online site. And so you have your own, that they have competing priorities. And so all of a sudden TikTok Shop comes along and it's like, it's all e-commerce, right? And finally, hopefully, we have a real competitor to Amazon, which I think all of us want, so that Amazon feels a little bit of pressure and the fees and the margin compression maybe might abate.
I'd almost argue TikTok has almost maybe even diluted their own service to push TikTok Shop in that if you ever use TikTok, now you're like, oh, every fourth video, I'm seeing like this little product thing at the bottom. And so like, consumers know, they know when they're being advertised to. And so, in 2020, when like everything was purely just like for fun on TikTok, it feels a little bit different now. They're like, oh, there's like this e-commerce angle that any moment, like I might want to buy something. So yeah, no, TikTok is very aligned for making their e-commerce and actually like a random third-party seller just work.
Yeah. So Scott, before we hit the record button, you had mentioned that you actually have a team member that oversees your TikTok sales channel that's solely focused on that. So I'd be curious to hear, what are you guys doing? What success, what levers have you guys pulled on TikTok?
Last December, there was no content about TikTok Shop, nothing. I almost wish I just would have like sold everything off and be like, okay, I'm going to build a course. And like if I would have been like the first one, there was no one talking about like what works, what levers are you? But we actually found a contractor after a few conversations. We're like, okay, yes, like we need this resource. And what he's doing is contacting, finding affiliates. I think like we're talking like you have to contact, you get a response rate of about 3% from creators. TikTok Shop does this one thing where they align incentives of affiliates with a shop, where like if an affiliate promotes your product and sells, they get a commission of that sale, and that commission can be like 20%. We're happy to pay that because the platform fees are just like lower. The at least for now. And so we offer 25% to creators for everything that they sell. Every unit they sell, they get like, I don't know, $8. And because we have to pay more in ads, we had to pay about $12 in ads to get a conversion. So, happy to pay an affiliate a little bit less and to get some of that organic content that can promote the product. So we're, he is contacting about 1,000 creators a week, and we're trying to place as many units in the hands of creators, and hopefully a few of them, do really well. I think there's something. Oh, as I was talking about TikTok Shop changing their algorithm to benefit sellers. So I've posted TikToks for a variety of reasons. I've done some for my own amusement. I made my brother-in-law go viral. I've posted some to promote Smart Scout. And then I've posted some TikToks to talk about my product. This is just a test. And there's something different. If you attach a product to a video, TikTok just gives it to, they serve that video to more people. I can show you 30 videos where they like served it to 200 people, And then the next one, I use a product, and all of a sudden it gets to 4,000 people. Like, as since I've seen this platform so many times, I'm like, they're doing something to juice um, their the product videos. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like, they've aligned incentives for sellers.
Yeah. No, I agree. We've seen the same things. That TikTok is definitely heavily favoring anything with some products in their videos right now. And it's still the Wild West of reaching out to creators. Any tips or hacks as it relates to how do you get creators? They're getting hit up. They get hundreds of messages a day, right? And so how are you getting their attention to actually be willing to promote your product?
So we give a good affiliate commission. I think we're at 25%. I think if you're over 20%, you're probably going to get a little bit more attention. But you're right. They have this whole affiliate center, and I myself contacted like 60 people, got maybe 2 responses. So you do want to have a good message and a good product. Our contractor is pretty firm on saying it's a numbers game. You never know when you're going to get people at the right time. And I've seen that as like, in sales, it's like you contact 100 people, 3% respond. Well, if you do that same 100 people in a year, a different 3% will respond. It's just luck of the draw. It's timeliness. It's like when people are checking their messages, and if they have an open calendar, if they're like, oh, I've got my content calendar is looking like this. I do need a new product. So that's why we've scaled this to we're talking to 1,000 creators a week, and hopefully we can get a few dozen videos out of it. And then, because what you really want to do is look at the creator videos. If any of them start taking off, throw some ads on that. And then if that performs better than your existing ad, then you build out a framework. You're like, oh, videos like this work. They capture attention. And then, your next batch of creators have they have a different starting point. They're like, okay, this is the new best video. I got to beat this. And then you get a newer, and so that's kind of the strategy that we've started to undergo is just keep trying to find the new best video and put ads on that one.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. What about, are you driving the majority of your sales from just affiliates and influencers that you've reached out to and them creating videos? Or are you personally creating videos for your own account and posting those? And are those driving sales? Tell me about that.
So that's a good question. The content that we've created mostly is duets of creators. So if someone features our product, we'll do a duet, and you could do a variety of duets. You can do a duet that you aren't even seen at all, and you can layer in some text. You can do a duet where we have this one where, it's the person's talking about the product on one side. On the other side, we're playing Jenga with the product. And so you're just, you're kind of hitting that, you're getting people into okay, they're someone's talking to them, but the soothing anti-anxiety part is just watching something happening. And some of those videos have actually gotten, 20, 30, 40,000 views. And the great thing about duets is it just takes less effort and creativity. We could create a duet in 5 minutes without any script, without any editing. So, big fan of once you get a creator that puts out a video, just create a bunch of duets with it. And you kind of create a counter story. So the creator's talking about the product, and then you could create this counter narrative that so it's these two ideas that people are handling at once. Oh, here's this product, but here's maybe more about the business. You could show if you have a warehouse, you're shipping, just being hey, this creator, we did one where this creator this video went so viral. We are just like working like crazy back here to fulfill things. And that video did really well. Kind of people like to get behind the scenes. There's the story, then there's the behind the scenes story. So, and it's not hard. Those are the easiest ones to create.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I love that strategy of, I think so many people are like, just like standing still because they're so intimidated. Like, I'm not the face of this brand. I'm not going to go start I'm not spending my time creating 5 TikTok videos and dancing or singing or whatever I need to do to get attention every day. Right. But I love that, like, reach out to your affiliates, let them create good videos, and then just create duets on the ones that are doing well with some very simple ideas and strategies that you shared. I really like the one of, showing the warehouse, just trying to keep up, right? People love behind the scenes. Any other tips of how do you as the brand owner come out with your own content more? So you got duets, anything else?
Let's see. I mean, it's tough. I'm going to say it's a big challenge if like you're trying to create videos and it has to go to editing and like you have to like write a script. We've done that and, got results within a week. Like that's like the hard approach. There's always something easier and even maybe more authentic that, don't be afraid of the low budget, low effort stuff because that does well on, people like seeing real people. They don't always like seeing like doctored advertisements. So there's so much you can learn from just watching successful videos. Oh, what is that? There's this tool out there. I think it's called Fast Moss. It's all right as an interface, but it has a lot of data about successful TikTok shops. And I think it was like a Chinese business that created it. Then they kind of skinned an English version. A lot of good stuff. In fact, I've been like interested in copying that business for a second. I'm like, I want to do the Smart Scout for TikTok. And, but like you want to see successful ideas. You want to see like, okay, what are the top people doing? Okay, I can copy that. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Let's let the creators do that. You as a brand owner, just find out what works and which ones, there's maybe like 10 things that work. 1 or 2 of those are going to like work for your product.
Yeah, I love that. So I pulled up Fastmoss just as you were talking. And yes, they say that they are the first and largest TikTok data analytics platform, right? The best choice of sellers, brands. Let's say rapid TikTok data update accuracy, comprehensive data coverage, so that you can see like what's trending, finding the right creators, finding the hottest like lives. What are people working? Like, what's the best type of live to be doing?
So it's definitely, it's definitely a Chinese owned company. So the customer service will be a little bit weird. I've even heard that their data isn't like always accurate, but that doesn't matter. It points you in a direction where you're like, okay, what does the best on TikTok Shop are supplements and like kind of like, think skincare. Any like emerging brands do really well on TikTok Shop. So you just want to see what they're doing. Some products have sold already, $10 million in revenue in just like the last 6 months. How, who are they? Who are they working with? What are the creators that are promoting? And Fastmoss shows you a lot of that stuff. I think you could get some of the stuff for free. They have a paid tier, but so it's worth, if you're taking TikTok Shop seriously, it's worth just browsing it.
Love it. Scott, any other points, tips, strategies for TikTok Shop that you think our listeners need to hear?
Sure. Okay. Here's one is we just always throw a coupon on our product. So it's at $30, but we know people convert way less at 30 than at 25. It's a big conversion lift. So we just throw a $5 coupon at $30 and leave that on for a month, then turn that coupon on again. It's something I learned from the Amazon world and just applied it to TikTok.
People just like the fact they feel like they're getting like a limited time promotion, and it increases the conversion rate.
Yeah, it may just be that our product just converts better at that price. We just back our way into it.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Awesome. All right, Scott, let's transition now into your story where you're on your honeymoon, and your Amazon has an FBA change. You have to come rescue your business. I think as Amazon sellers, that's the thing that I think is like, this story may be an older story and the change is in the past, but the point of it is this: Amazon is only going to be continuing to change, and you need to be able to adapt. So, Scott, I'm interested to hear this story.
Well, the only reason I volunteered this story because it has a very today application. There's 2 complicated fees that Amazon's adding right now. I think one goes live in 3 days on April 1st. And that's the low inventory fee. Then they also have this placement fee. And when I started thinking about these new structure changes that actually, this placement fee is really changing people's shipment plans, the way that they where they deliver, how they do it, do they break up the shipments? I'm like, oh my goodness, this reminds me. So I got married in 2021. Most Amazon sellers did pretty well in 2020 into 2021. If you actually had inventory, it just sold. And me and my wife were like, we're going on honeymoon to Italy. We are not bringing our laptops. We're not going to work. And I was like, cool. Yeah, that's great. 2 weeks sounds like a lot of fun. We talk a lot about going back to Italy right now, but I think our 3rd or 4th day in, I get a message. I'm like, hey, these storage limits are we are now below the line. They have reduced our storage capacity. And that means our 100 employees working on our Amazon FBA business, they can't work. They usually can fill up 1 or 2 days of work with prepping products, getting everything ready, cleaning things up. I don't know. They did a good job of staying busy, but man, this hit me, and I get into fight or flight mode. I'm like, I've got a few hours. I can't interrupt this honeymoon. I don't have a laptop. I don't know what to do, and I'm like, I maybe can squeeze 2 or 3 hours. So what I had to do is I was like, okay, wife, go shopping in Florence for a few hours. I've got to go to the Apple store right here, buy a laptop, and connect to computers in the US or do whatever to destroy inventory. Because the reason I had to do this is we had 60,000 different SKUs. I've got to connect to a database and find, query the worst of the worst performers. And I think I had to destroy about $200,000 of inventory and get that submitted to Amazon. Hopefully that submission works, because if you've ever submitted feeds to Amazon, sometimes it can break. And I just had to do it all right. It was a very stressful 2 or 3 hours. I needed to get it solved. And on top of it all, I had to work on an Italian keyboard, which sounds very similar. It's like, okay, yeah, it's the same QWERTY keyboard, but man, there's a few small differences of where certain characters are, how to get them. It's they have one caps lock and they have the second type of caps lock type of key. I don't really know what I'm doing. Eventually I figure it out. I submit the feeds. They go through successfully. And I think I did as much as I could. But all the while, I am forming my business around Amazon's requirements. And which has always been the case, that FBA phenomenal program, real rigid in certain aspects, where you come up against hard walls, where like there's like storage limits, or there's long-term storage fees, monthly fees. It is designed and incentivized to get the one behavior that Amazon wants, and that's sell through. And so, yeah, even these new fees that are hitting, it is like they're basically telling Amazon sellers, lean into our systems and this will work for you. If you don't want to lean into our systems, you're going to have to pay a little bit more. And right now, Amazon wants inventory available nationwide. So they're like, if you don't have inventory nationwide, we're going to charge you a little bit extra, this new low inventory fee, where they're like, if you don't have inventory nationwide, we have to ship it across the US. And it's expensive. So that's, it was a very personal story for me. Like it totally disrupted me. But I honestly, like we would have, the business would not have survived if we didn't react fast. And if I didn't disrupt the honeymoon and liquidate $200,000 of inventory so that we can get our new stuff in. Because if you've ever had an Amazon business with a lot of SKUs, Josh, I know you have many. It's that stuff that goes out of stock. Once you get that in stock, like, whoa, like that is like the lifeblood. Is whatever runs out, getting replenished is the lifeblood of your business. And so, yeah, that's it was a story that I'm never going to forget. Just because like the weird things from like the Italian keyboard to like the honeymoon and like the 2 or 3 hours that I had to like make that work.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, now you're jogging my memory here. I remember that exact same day when Amazon rolled out the new inventory, restrictions, right? Or storage placements, right? And that you had a limited amount of storage that you could use overnight, right? Amazon was like, hey, you've got 6 months to prepare. It was like, by the way, this is happening in a couple weeks. And we had, up until that point, our business, we had a lot of seasonal items. And we're like, if it doesn't sell this year, it's not a big deal. It'll sell again next year. And the storage fees at Amazon, they're relatively low, so not a big deal. Well, I mean, the game has completely changed from that time, right? That was almost 4 years ago. And I remember I had to do the exact same thing. I went through and I remember the exact day and time and place where I was sitting at my desk, like, I've got to liquidate a ton of inventory and this is going to hurt. But and then we worked with our manufacturer. We're like, Amazon's going to be returning a bunch of crap. And that was like their most horrendous experience because there's like thousands of units coming back to them in the US. And just Amazon, if anybody's done the Amazon like removal orders, they come back to you and you might remove 1,000 units. You're going to get 500 boxes. One has 1 in it. Another one has 50 in it. Another one has 2 in it. And it's just this mess. Right. And so I think that is like the important story though, what you talked about, which is just like, you've got to learn how to adapt. And I laugh at all of the Facebook ads. I think there's probably few of them now, of the people that are like, create passive income on Amazon. I'm like, oh, Amazon is the least passive business that I know of right now.
Yeah, well, they're still around because like there's a scam component to those ads. They're trying to get you to spend $30,000-$40,000 on a passive business. But yeah, no, your story, like it's painful, and you have to make a lot of quick decisions.
Yep, 100%. So Scott, I'm curious to hear from your perspective. You've been in the e-commerce space for a long time. You interact with a lot of sellers. Give me some of your predictions of what you think is going to happen over the next 3 to 5 years on Amazon. Do you see, just continuing margin compression? Because I feel like for 2023, everybody's story is like, I was not as profitable as I once was. And now with these new inventory placement charges, and you don't have enough inventory, Amazon's asking you to be perfect, and if you're not, then we're gonna take more margin from your business. So where do you see the puck going over the next 3 to 5 years?
So I think people's margin compression can depend a lot on their category, their brand positioning. Like if you are able to like sell the premium price points, you don't see as much as the compression versus the commodity type products that are a race to the bottom. And there's some one thing that is unavoidable that is just like kind of here to stay, and I do have a thought on this, is just advertising. The reliance on advertising seems to be as high as ever, and some business models, this really hurts. It really hurts if you are a one-time sell. Someone's going to buy your product once, and they're likely never to buy it again. They're likely to forget your brand, and you had to pay money for that transaction. That's where like advertising like hurts that business model the most, because they're not building brand equity. They're not building like, some products you talk to your friends like, hey, this product like solves this problem, where like if you're in that situation, the more units you sell, the better. So this reliance on advertising on Amazon is very challenging. And what I saw someone like a week ago, I think I took a screenshot just of like this guy's comment in a chat group. It's like, this is really intelligent, where he stops worrying about organic placement. He's like, I don't control that. I do control our ads, and I do control our price point, and do those ads convert at a profitable rate? He cares about that. He's like, I'm going to assume that I'm going to have to like advertise forever. I need to make sure that everywhere that I advertise is still profitable. So, you probably need to have decent margins. Like we're talking, let's say your margins are really good on Amazon, they're 50%. Like we're talking gross margin, like if like just like someone checked out, you'd have 50%. And that's on the high side. I think more normal, good margins would be like a 40%, maybe 30%. But can you advertise and still leave some healthy profitability? I've seen this happen in our business, on my private label business. There are some keywords. It does not matter like if it's now or if it's in a year. We generally just make money off of this. We have such a high conversion rate on this high intent stuff, and that I'm going to spend money now. I'm going to spend that money on that keyword next year because it is so close to the unique value that we're serving. And so I almost think finding those little slivers of ads is an unlock to your business. It's an actual improvement. And you can sideline it and be like, I'm always profitable here. Because this, just assume that like organic sales will come through. People start searching for your brand, but you got to have this, like, if you could build a profitable discovery phase, you now have a real good business. And so that's when I think of like what's going to change and like what's not going to change. What's not going to change is Amazon loves advertising. And so how can you lean into that and make that a strength to your business? It very much depends on your category. It's not like I can answer. I can answer our specific, like the one that I just brought up was, we have these pickleball paddles That's part of the legacy of this private label business. They were one of the first pickleball paddles. It's now very competitive, that it's hard without some serious backing to make money. But where do we do well? If someone adds a specific keyword to a search, pickleball paddles gold, pickleball paddle zebra, or pickleball paddles for women, pickleball paddles for or pink. And so we serve that product on those niche keywords. Maybe they only get like 30 searches a month, but guess what? We'll convert a third of those searches. And all of a sudden, this is a profitable product for us. If we're able to keep accumulating like profitable keywords for us, we don't need to win on, the race to the bottom. If people just type in pickleball paddles, like it's brutal. Because it's actually turned into very much of a commodity product. And or like the top end brands are now like spending millions of dollars on like sponsorships with like athletes and stuff, and like that's just not the game that we're in. And so
I love that. I think that's a great mindset shift. I think 3 to 5 years from now, what's going to change on Amazon, what's not going to change on Amazon, and advertising is only going to become more predominant on Amazon, and inventory and FBA fees, guess what? I promise you, they are only going to go up at this point. So get used to it, right? And Amazon's going to want better efficiency from their sellers. And so that's not going to go away. And so I think for my recommendation for any Amazon seller is to get really good experts in your supply chain team. And then you also need to get some really good experts on your PPC team. Those are going to be some massive levers that you're going to need to pull, and they have a direct correlation to the profitability of your business. And so really honing in on that, I think you'll look back 3 to 5 years from now and be grateful the decisions you make today to bring those type of people in. Scott, another thing we talked about before we hit the record button on the podcast is I said, do you have some ideas of how to help 7-figure sellers grow to 8 figures and beyond? What are some different tactics or levers they can pull? And then you took down some notes to make sure you didn't forget those. So here's my question.
We actually hit one of those. One of them that I wrote down was the profitable advertising. I just felt like that fit that question that you said of like, what's not going to change. Here's what I see. This is that I think we miss often. Sometimes we build a product and maybe it's a base hit product, does all right. We kind of set it and forget it when there's small improvements that you can make, and do it from this lens. If you're going to make improvements, assume people are making a split decision on your product. They're giving you 2 seconds. They're scrolling through the top 5 results in 2 seconds. What's standing out about your product? Or do you look like everyone else? If you look like everyone else, you're going to get everyone else's results. Can you differentiate your product in just your hero image? And I would argue there's always more you can do with your hero image, whether that's improving the shadows, whether that's improving adding in something that gives it texture. You're seeing some of the top supplement products will like have a little bit of the product out in front of the bottle, just like sitting there as an accent item. And maybe they'll have something, maybe they'll have the box behind it. Either way, like these like small little things, you're giving that person comfort in trusting you. And they don't have a lot to trust you from, but they do make judgments off of your image. We are so susceptible to good design, to making it feel like the product is actually better. You can have the same product as someone else. And guess what? The one with better design that kind of hits our psychology is going to do really well. So, just take that assumption. People are making split decisions on your product And the thing that you control the most is your hero image. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, you know what? We have a good hero image. I can't do anything more. I don't agree with you. I think there's more you can do. I think there's more you can experiment with. And so I can give you one brand to like look at, like, hey, who's pushing the envelope here? This brand like has turned a commodity type of category into what I think is defensible. Maybe people are actually getting to know them. That's Zulay Kitchen, Zulay. If you just like search them on Amazon, you will see a few unique things about their images. And the founder of this is Aaron. He's a regular in the Amazon content space, so you can hear his like take. But I'll just give you a summary: is that he has someone in his company. All they do is think and worry about hero images. The first image, they do the accents. They do like the improve the shadows. If you look at their hero images, they're just very like there's nothing weak about the image, the lighting. It just like rounds really well. It kind of gives a very comfortable feeling. And then if there's color variations, they put the different color variations in small accents, because you want to like just improve the click through, and you wanted people like, oh, this one has a lot of different colors. I want to choose this option because I want to explore there. Because as soon as you get them on your page, if you win that click, you have a better chance of winning the sale. And this is kind of where you get into the gray area, is they even put some specific text on their packaging. They put text on their packaging so that people read it while looking at the hero image. And you can put your packaging on your hero image. And so, you could experiment with all of this stuff. That's kind of like in a nutshell, e-commerce. It's like people are making split decisions and they're solving their problems, and you have to win them through that. It's not easy. I'm not pretending this is easy. Like, we have struggled to like improve our images. It involves graphic design and involves like, okay, now I got to submit it to Amazon. There's some operations here, but it just improve the perceived value of your product every second you can.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a great note. And we have Aaron Cordovez. He's going to be coming on the podcast here coming up. So everybody should stay tuned. He is one that comes up frequently in our conversations, and he's doing a great job with the Zulay Kitchen brand. Scott, any other levers or, tips or ideas to help these 7-figure sellers grow to 8 figures and beyond?
I hear quite often, and I see this, is the people that keep growing, it's because they keep launching new products. I know every business is different. Every category is different. But if you have that muscle of, launching a product every week, 2 products a week, 3 products a week, we know that there's 3 types of products. There's the duds, there's like the base hits, and then there's the heroes. You just need to find more hero products, ones that like can drive your business. And so if you want a very flat business, don't launch products. If you want to keep growing, have a playbook involving launching and expanding your portfolio, and expanding the unique ways that people can start purchasing from your brand. And because every human's a little bit different, we all need different things at different times. So there's always an adjacent category to what you're selling. Yeah. And that's probably one of the better places to start.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head. You even said, if you want a flat business on Amazon, don't launch a new product. I would actually say if you want a declining business on Amazon, don't launch any new products, because what I feel like I hear time and time again is that those old products that you launched 2 or 3 years ago, those are the products that they're actually declining 15, 20% year over year. And unless you're coming out with new stuff on a regular basis, you will find yourself shrinking overall. Scott, as we start to wrap things up, I do love to leave the audience with 3 actionable takeaways from every episode. Here are the 3 actionable takeaways that I've noted. You let me know if you think I'm missing something here. Action item number 1. If you're not currently on TikTok Shop, get it on TikTok Shop. But the biggest strategy that I think I learned from Scott here today is that you don't need to go crazy thinking you've got to do all this in-house content, thinking I've got to hire all these models, I've got to have a studio, I've got to create these professional videos. I love Scott's approach of we're reaching out to 1,000 influencers and creators every single week. It's a 3% take rate at this point, but we're getting dozens of videos per week. And then we're going to go create duets, very simple videos that don't need a spokesperson per se, that don't need a lot of editing. You'd mentioned just like 5 minutes, you could have a new TikTok up, and you're already taking videos that have done well and then layering them on your own channel and platform. And so again, I think that TikTok Shop has a lot of opportunity to continue to grow. And I think first mover advantage is going to be massive right now, because eventually I think TikTok Shop will eventually start to get into the search feature, right? Right now it's all driven by like videos that you're seeing, but I do see maybe there comes a time where people are actually searching on their platform, and there is kind of a ranking algorithm like there is on Amazon for products. Action item number 2 is going to be getting really good at the basic fundamentals of your business. 3 to 5 years from now, we don't know exactly what Amazon's going to look like, but there are a few things that are not going to change. That's going to be supply chain and logistics. And those fees, FBA fees, inbound placement fees, those are only going to get more challenging. So having an expert or working with consultants that are going to help you level up your game is going to reap dividends. In addition, PPC is not going to go away. And so up-leveling your own game, hiring consultants, and ideally bringing in somebody in-house that knows your brand, that knows where you find success, and leveraging that person is going to reap dividends in the future as well. So start hiring. And then last but not least, I think the one thing that you talked about that is very basic, it's not game changing. Action item number 3 is optimize your main images. Always. You should always be testing. You should never just say, well, this image won the PickFu poll that I ran on it 5 years ago, so surely it's still the best image. Or even something that you launched 2 years ago, and you're like, well, I did all these PickFu tests, it should still be the best, right? I love that you called out like Aaron Cordova has like one single team member that's all they do, constantly refining that main image. And I think that's definitely something that a lot of sellers could take out of that playbook. Scott, is there anything you think I missed that we need to share with the audience?
That's great. I need to write my own notes and just double down on that stuff in my business.
It's always easier said than done, for sure, right?
Yeah.
All right, Scott, here are my final 3 questions for you. Number 1, what's been the most influential book that you've read and why?
Sure. I had a hard time choosing one. One is business and one is just fun. So I'm going to just get to 2 real quick. So, the Naval Almanac, why can't I think of his first name? Naval is this, let's call him a business philosopher, where he has succeeded in a few of his, some of his business. One of his business angel list is over $1 billion in valuation. So he's successful, but his writing and thinking is so clear, so applicable to anyone's business. He has this one tweet where it's how to get wealthy. It's how to get wealthy without being lucky. I just love that sentence. I also love that Twitter thread what the almanac is someone collected all of his best posts that he's written either on Twitter or other platforms. I know it's kind of strange. I just collect it in a book, but like there's amazing wisdom there that really applies to a business. And basically, it's like it's under this assumption. Let's say you live 100 times. How do you become wealthy in at least 99% of those situations? And he answers that. Here's the things you do to like build leverage for yourself that, you can be wealthy. So that's a great one. I listened to it on audio. So that's the Naval Almanac. Now, a non-business book that I love is called Over the Edge of the World. I think about it often. It is just basically Magellan's travel around the world. I mean, everyone's heard of Magellan, but like if you actually dig into the story and the details, I'm shocked no one has created a miniseries on this, like an HBO kind of like 10-part, because they started with 5 ships. They ended with 1 ship. They had about 250 people, and then only about 17 people made it back home. And people died in every single like way possible. It's really challenging, really tough, and it's just an awesome story. So can definitely recommend that book. It's not for the faint of heart.
I love it. Those are some great recommendations, Scott. All right, next question. What is a new productivity or software tool that you've recently discovered that you think is a game changer?
Yeah, I know this is becoming really popular. Even Riverside does this, but this is the one that does this the best. Short video content, it can be very hard to build, but I found a tool that does it really well. It does it really fast, and I can give a lot of value. That's this tool called Opus Pro. Are you familiar with it?
I am, yes.
Oh, shoot. I'm speaking to the converted. I started really implementing this about 2 months ago. As we create a lot of short form content, it does the best captions I've ever seen. Riverside does captions, but it's not quite as good. It just doesn't like solve it for you. And you can edit the short form videos right in the platform. And as you can see, I'm very reluctant to work with editors if I want things fast, if I want results fast. And so just love that tool. And it's been a way to, I don't know, give value to people that I work with.
Yeah. No, I love it. It is a great tool. The other one I've also heard of, video.ai, is also another good one. Allows you to do more like custom branding on it so that it produces like the captions in like custom color. All right, Scott. Third and final question. Who is somebody that you admire or respect the most in the e-commerce space that other people should be following, and why?
Okay. Well, again, I found 2 people, very different. Marketplace Pulse, Joe, he writes a lot about kind of the big picture and really focuses a lot on Amazon. So his blog, Marketplace Pulse, I think it was recently acquired, but it's just good writing. It's kind of always nice to be aware. He did a recent piece on how like, hey, everyone's talking about Shine and Shein and Temu and TikTok Shop. But it's like Amazon's real competitor is Walmart in terms of like a competitor at scale. And it's just interesting to hear him, like the way he said that. It's like, okay, we have all this shiny object syndrome, but here's what's actually the big picture. Another person that's worth following if you want to like a view in e-commerce as a whole, not just to Amazon, is this guy, Rick Watson. He writes often on like, if you want to like someone that really understands Shopify, if you want someone that understands the other e-commerce platforms, he comments, it just seems like he has insider info because the takes that he has, the data he brings, I'm like, here's how I feel. It's like I see Joe, I see other people that like are very smart. I'm like, I probably can do that if I focused. I look at what he produces and I'm like, I can't do that. This guy has insights. He has connections. He knows the big picture really well.
Fascinating. Those are some great people to follow along. So Scott, thanks for those recommendations. Now, Scott, we didn't get too much time to really dive into your software, Smart Scout, but I would love for you to go ahead and tell people about your software,
Sure.
how it can benefit their business, and where people can find you at.
Yeah. I sell on Amazon, but when I say I sell, it means I usually tinker and develop stuff. And so this is the second service that I've built for Amazon sellers. The first one we actually sold off in 2019 successfully. Then, so Smart Scout was this idea that we wanted just to look at every brand on Amazon at once. So there's about 1 million brands on Amazon, and we want to look at top level data. Okay, who's selling $1 million a month? Or maybe I'm selling in pickleball paddles. What's happening in the pickleball paddle category? So if you think of Helium 10 and Jungle Scout, those are very product-centered tools. They focus on a product. Smart Scout is more of like a market. So instead of product research, it's more of like a market research tool. And here's where it's really applicable. If let's say you sell in pickleball paddles, okay, here's the 10 brands and their market share in this category and how it's trending over time. So we give you that idea of how things are moving. You could jump in an individual competitor, look at the full brand strategy, or just look at an individual product. And then we do a really good job of showing you adjacent categories. Take this, like say, dog toys. There's 10 types of dog toys, and turns out some of them are huge. They're like selling like $10 million a month in just like one category of dog toys. There's other dog toys that are like $100,000 a month, like literally like 1% of that size. So if you're doing really well in one and you want to move to an adjacent category, we have this like category browser that lets you see, what are the adjacent categories that probably make the most sense for you and are a good opportunity. So that's kind of how we think of Smart Scout, what we've built. It's been a wild ride. It's not an easy business, but it's been fun. We have over 3,000 paying customers right now. So it's honestly been my favorite thing that I've worked on in, my Amazon career of, 13 years.
I love that. Scott, sounds like an amazing software. You're a wealth of knowledge. Today, you are the smartest Amazon seller. So thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, Scott, thanks again for your time and coming on the show.
Thank you for listening. Visit ecommbreakthrough.com for more information. If you've enjoyed today's episode, the best way you can show your appreciation is by clicking the subscribe button and quickly leaving a review. See you again next time.